man's heart is full of hate. He butthurts, cries, and a dark shadow falls over this troll. From the ashes of a once great fandom has risen a meme, an LOL that must be liked. We look to the airwaves for a vindicator, someone to strike fear in the dark basement of the parents who created him. The battle between fan and smark has begun. With a head on his shoulders stands the smart fan, a speaker of truths, with a voice of silence and a radio show of justice. This is Ring Rust.
So, I have a rather daunting task in that I have two pay-per-views to review and one pay-per-view to preview. So, here we go. Ring of Honor's All-Star Extravaganza 8 from the Lowell Memorial Auditorium in Lowell, Massachusetts. A pre-show match saw Silas Young defeating Evil with Will Ferrer in their corner. I don't think that wasn't advertised, so I didn't predict it. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbranology TV. Bobby Fish defeated Donovan Dijak to retain his World Television Championship. And did I predict that? Yes, I predicted Bobby Fish would defend his title. So, I'm considering myself 1 for 1 at the time, for the time being. So I never saw the Silas Young match, of course, because it was on the pre-show. I don't think they do. They don't show anything they don't have a pre-show on Ring of Honor, do they? Not really. I don't know. So that's just that might appear on an upcoming episode of Ring of Honor TV, I guess. Assuming they recorded it. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbranology TV. A four-corner survival tag team match for the number one contendership for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. So, now, what did I name them? Of course I named them. Because I named tag teams. That's what I do. Looks like I didn't actually, no, I don't think I did. Okay. Was that added later? I don't have anything here for it. So I'm just gonna go on the limb and assume they added it later. Colt Cabana and Dalton Castle defeated the All Night Express of Rhett Titus and Kenny King. Keith Lee and Shane Taylor, and War Machine, Henson, Mbop, and Raymond Rowe. Interesting what they got going on, that particular team. But anyway, with that new, really big hunk of massive people team that they got to come in and say, oh, you left us behind. It's like, well, no, deal with him. He's the one with some kind of Xena thing on his trunks. Wait, what? Punch. Anyway, so yeah, Colt Cabana and Dalton Castle. I saw them as like, yep, I want them to win. Well, because it's Dalton Castle, and it's Colt Cabana. And, you know, it's Dalton Castle featuring Colt Cabana. So, nothing against Colt Cabana. He's a great talent in and of himself. He obviously is just coming back for this, I assume. Maybe going for the tag titles and maybe staying for a little while. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, how many times we hear Kid Russell and Matt Jenkins. This is Fanboy Mark Gibroni, and we're listening to Ring Rust. So back to the results for Ring of Honor's All-Star Extravaganza 8. Dragon Lee defeated Kamatachi, I think is how you pronounce it. Again, I'm not too up on, Japanese names, but, and I predicted it going the other way, Kamatachi, because, like I said, I knew who Kamatachi was, just going by his name. But, oh well, it was an interesting enough match, all the same. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbranology TV. Kyle O'Reilly defeated Hangman Page. And is that another one that was added? Looks like that's another one that was added. I just read this from a couple of weeks ago because I didn't want to be previewing it the day of. Because, it would have almost completely nullified the usefulness of, the actual podcasted version of the show. I mean, it's great for the live version, but kind of lousy for the podcasted version, because it will be almost instantly out of date. So, anyway, that's how I choose to do it. If it works in my favor, then great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So, next up we have the 6-man tag first round, no more contender, is it? No, yeah, no, first round match for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championship tournament, which saw the team of winners, which was ACH, and one of these guys got replaced, I believe, actually. Jay White and Kushida were the other two. So Kushida was replacing Leo Rush. Leo Rush did pop up, actually, didn't he, during the show? Anyway, so that team won against Unnecessary Barber, which is Toru Yano, and the Briscoe brothers, Mark and Jay Briscoe, because Toru Yano is known as the Barber, and Mark and Jay Briscoe are bald. So so any barber would be unnecessary. Unnecessary Barber. So, unless, it's like, oh, you want to shave my head? Okay, go ahead, shave my head. It's free, right? Well, this is a barber shop. I'm sure he doesn't charge for whatever hair cutting he does. So I did predict that the other way around, since, it's the Briscoe brothers, so they like punching people and winning tag team titles. So I assumed they'd end up winning, but I'm not disappointed. Not especially. Follow me on Twitter at Mark Jabroni, or message me on the CHMR's Ring Rust Facebook page. Drop me a line there, or just go tinyurl.com/ringrust. That'll bring you right there, or just go to Facebook and search CHMR's Ring Rust. So, the next match we have for Ring of Honor's All-Star Extravaganza 8. Jay Lethal defeated Tetsuya Naito, as I fully expected he would, because, well, it's a revenge match. Usually, especially when it's a Dudley Do-Right looking for revenge on a Snotty Whiplash, usually that Dudley Do-Right, the aforementioned White Hat, will win the match, usually, I think. So, not very often, in my observation, I don't think it actually happens all that often the other way around. Not to say it doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen all that often. So, it's a better story, I think, if it's the other way around. So, it's a better story if it's the good guy getting the revenge on the bad guy, because closure. Anyway, and wrestling is storytelling. Athletic storytelling, though it may be. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So we got Adam Cole defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Michael Elgin, which I did call, even though it was Michael Elgin, and he's rather punch you in the face tough, and, he's spent a while away from Ring of Honor, and he had a world title match. So, former world championships, former world champion, so I guess he probably should have a title match. Anyway, nothing against it. It was a smack-tastic match. Lots of punches up the side of the head, lots of flipping around, lots of stuff you wouldn't expect someone the size of Michael Elgin to do. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And finally, Ladder War 6 for the World Tag Team Championships. So the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, defeating The Addiction, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, and the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. That was a hell of a match, and that was a hell of a sight that Christopher Daniels was at the end of that match. Well, halfway through that match, really, and then up till the end. So, that was a good 23 minutes there, I think. 24 matches of, ow, stop hitting me with that.
Wait for it. Oops.
It says right here, diagnosis, fractured ass.
Brain brunt. Firm.
Sad, I suppose, but it rocks. So, it balances out. This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. So now, on to TNA's Bound for Glory, which is from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. So, pardon my accent, whatever that was supposed to be, but anyway. So, there got 8 matches here, and I previewed 6 last week, so obviously they added 2, and guess which 2 they added? The first 2 I'll be talking about, which means I can't say how I predicted them, because I never knew they were happening. Anyway, not a big deal. In the pre-show, we saw Jade defeating Sienna in a singles match. Never saw it. Can't tell you what I thought of it. DJZ defended his X Division Championship against Trevor Lee. So that was, as usual, an X Division match. So very few X Division matches aren't exciting and dynamic. So it was an X Division match. If you like X Division matches, you'll like that match. If you like DJZ matches, you'll like that match. If you like Trevor Lee matches, then you get the idea. So, I saw the show. It was rather enjoyable. There's some interesting news, actually. I'll see if I can get to it at the end of the actual preview. I posted some news to the Ring Rust Facebook page about a backstage sit-down that Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan had with the various talent. So, I'll hopefully get a chance to discuss that a little bit later. But for right now...
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni, and subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni. Ring Rust presents Macho Facts. Randy Savage can speak Braille. And the Macho Man regularly donates blood to the Red Cross. Just not his own. This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. So, next 2 matches from TNA's Bound for Glory this past weekend. Eli Drake won by last eliminating Tyrus and Jesse Goddard from the 10-man Bound for Gold Gauntlet match for a future shot at the end of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Others in that were Robbie E. Barandax, Grado, Rockstar Spud, Mahabali Shera, Braxton Sutter, and Cody Rhodes. I don't know, I just like Eli Drake. I don't get to see enough of him, as far as I'm concerned, so. And Moose defeated Mike Bennett, which I predicted both of those matches, actually. They're interesting in and of themselves, not super, technical, of course, because it's Moose, and it's Moose. Nothing against Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett's a fine wrestler. Moose is coming along. So, putting him with someone like Mike Bennett is probably a good thing. So, we'll see how this all develops, if it's a continuing feud or if he's just going to move on to something else. But right now, he's just off to bust some heads. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So next up, for TNA Bound for Glory, saw Aaron Rex defeating Eddie Edwards by split decision to become the inaugural Impact Grand Champion. Now the thing is, with the Grand Championship, they originally commissioned it to give to Bobby Lashley after he was the World Champion and the X Division Champion. So it's like, oh, well, we got this belt commissioned that we changed our mind apparently halfway through the process in creating this belt. And waste not, want not. So now they have some European rules. Wrestling matches, like 3-minute rounds, and that's perfectly fine. It's something different. You don't see that on WWE, so if nothing else, you can say you don't see that on WWE. Now, mind you, there's probably a reason you don't see that on WWE, but still, you don't see it on WWE. You want to complain about WWE, hey, look at that, TNA, but TNA sucks, but you've never watched it. So, I'm gonna have to smack you now. What do you mean, why do I have to smack you? Obviously, you don't listen to yourself. Regardless, life hands you lemons kind of solution, I guess. So, they, instead of, they did without the Legends belt, which they renamed like about a half dozen times until it was eventually, it was the TV title and it was the, what was it? When Eric Young had it. Was it the International Championship or... I don't remember. See, I've heard it referred to as the Ed Leslie Memorial title as well, so if you know who Ed Leslie is, then he's someone whose gimmick was changed a number of times and given various names, and yeah, strutting and cutting is all I gotta say about that. So, they could have brought that back instead of creating a new belt, but, Right, King of the Mountain. That's what it most recently was, the King of the Mountain Championship. Did they retire that? I think they might have. Anyway, so nice looking belt though. I liked the Legends / King of the Mountain all inclusive title look of it. It looked like a bunch of different really great looking belts. Elements of this great looking belt and elements of this great looking belt, and just threw it all together and put a TNA logo on it. It was a nice looking belt. The strap maybe could have been a different color, but other than that, it grew on me, so I enjoyed it, and I liked it, and it's too bad it's gone, and too bad they introduced this new belt, but they're doing their best with it, so... And I did predict... Well, originally this was Aaron Rex versus Drew Galloway, and I predicted Drew Galloway to win it, so I took it was a swing and a miss twice for me on that one. He just wasn't cleared to wrestle at the pay-per-view, so... That's what I predicted, and got it wrong. You were listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. The Broken Hardys, I don't know if that's officially what they're being called. Matt Hardy and Brother Nero, with Rebecca Hardy in their corner, defeating the members of Decay, who were, what did I call them? Inner Beauty? Because, Abyss calls himself beautiful, and, well... look at him. So, it's obviously Inner Beauty. So, Abyss and Crazy Steve for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. 22 minutes. It was a interesting match. The Great War. Just basically, I guess, a hardcore rules sort of match, I suppose, with the TNA twist on it. So, it was very interesting to see it happen. They're also the... House of Glory Tag Team Champions, I believe, if I remember seeing on Facebook. So, they're a team that you would like to put your titles on, because look at them. They're on TV. Our champions are on TV. We can put that on our poster and we can get more people to come to our shows. So, and yes, that is how it works. And yes, it's not really, if that's your sole purpose, if that's your sole purpose is just to get people in the door, to say you have all these big stars and the big stars aren't there. It's like, unfortunately they aren't able to appear today. And your tickets are non-refundable. Those people, no, those are jerks. These people all want to get as much money as they can while they can, because wrestling doesn't have insurance, generally speaking. Doesn't have any really job security. If you stick with a company for enough years, you eventually get a backstage job, and that's job security. But as a wrestler, though, like 95% of wrestlers don't have a whole lot of job security. Even John Cena doesn't have job security, necessarily. He'd have to mess up pretty big, like Roman Reigns, Randy Orton kind of big, to have his job security threatened, and even then, probably not because Roman Reigns and Randy Orton. So, I'm not sure who in TNA would have that level of job security. Regardless.
Taco Gene.
Ha! You're as dumb as I am! And now, if I can just lure Birdman to my secret spot?
Could you watch my death ray?
Running joke. This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You are listening to Ring Rust. And I'm not going to be able to read that little bit of news that was coming out of Bound for Glory, or going into it, or whatever you want to say. But you can go to the CHMR's Ring Rust website and Facebook page, and you can check it out there. So Gail Kim defeated Maria for the TNA Knockouts Championship, and Bobby Lashley defended his World Championship against Ethan Carter. So both interesting matches in and of themselves. And there you go. That was Bound for Glory from this past weekend. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Now, this coming Sunday is No Mercy, which is coming to us from the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. So we get 8 matches, pre-show and stuff. So we got Jack Swagger taking on Baron Corbin. I suspect that Baron Corbin's probably going to win that one because it's Baron Corbin and Jack Swagger. Whatever way you want to look at it. Anyway, and we got Kurt Hawkins versus To Be Announced. Kurt Hawkins is probably going to win that one. I don't know. I can't really say for an absolute fact, but seems reasonable. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Nikki Bella versus Carmella, which was just recently added to the No Mercy card. So probably Nikki Bella, I would imagine. Nothing against Carmella. I just predict it's probably going to be Nikki Bella. Randy Orton taking on Bray Wyatt. Well, I don't know. Bray Wyatt doesn't seem to be hurting all that much from losing matches, so I'll say Randy Orton, just for the sake of... Anyway. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. The Miz will be defending his Intercontinental Championship against Dolph Ziggler's career. So, I don't know. I've been hearing talk of Dolph Ziggler wanting to retire from wrestling, maybe get a backstage job. If that's what he wants, that's probably what's going to happen. I personally would prefer to see Dolph Ziggler win. He keeps his career, he keeps wrestling, he has the Intercontinental Championship again, so best case scenario, everybody wins. If he wants to go, he's going to go. So, that's, though, how I would prefer to see it. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Heath Slater and Rhino, Redneck and No Neck will be defending their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the Uso Brothers, Jimmy and Jay. In other words, the Brother Brothers, because that's what Uso means, is brother and Samoan. So, Becky Lynch will be defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. That was a face palm, by the way, in case you weren't able to determine from the audio. I think Becky Lynch is probably still going to defend her title for the time being. Fingers crossed anyway. Seems to look good on her. But, it'll probably look good on Alexa Bliss too. Not quite yet. If they want Alexa Bliss to be champion, maybe in another couple of pay-per-views, or maybe the next pay-per-view. I don't know. Maybe the next major one. Maybe they want to do it on SmackDown because now they want to do that same thing on SmackDown as they do on Raw. The road to the Raw after WrestleMania starts right here. So, kind of thing.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkGibroni. And subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni.
AJ Styles, finally, will be defending his World Championship against Dean Ambrose and John Cena in a triple threat match. So I see AJ Styles defending for the time being, although either man could, win it, realistically. Anyway.
That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.